Let's talk about all the new features that came up recently with Gemini CLI. Here I am inside my Visual Studio Workspace. Now if you go to the extension and type Gemini CLI code in the search window, you will find an option called Gemini CLI Companion. Select that. This is the extension that I'm going to talk about now. You have to install this Gemini CLI Companion. The installation is very simple. So I have already installed that. So let me initialize my Gemini. And to understand what's going on inside this file, previously all I need to do is basically tell me the logic of the file, and then I need to give the path of the file, which is basically this one. So this is what I need to give as a prompt to the Gemini to understand what's going on inside this file. But once you start utilizing this Gemini CLI Companion, you don't need to give the path of the file. Gemini will be able to understand the context. For example, in this scenario, what the file is open for the user, and then provide the logic of that file. So I don't need to provide the path of the file anymore. I can just type this prompt, which is basically tell me the logic of the file, and this is good enough for Gemini to understand that user is asking the logic of a file which is open. For example, app.py here. So if I enter now, what will happen? Gemini already understand that this is the file for which I'm asking for the logic, and this is the logic of the file. So it's much more intelligent right now because it can understand the context in which the user is giving the prompt. At the same time, let's say if I highlight this portion of the code, I can also type, tell me the logic of the highlighted section, and then enter. Gemini will able to provide me the logic of only the highlighted section. So if you see the answer, this highlighted code blocks, and then this is the logic. So once you install this extension in Visual Studio Code, any prompt that you'll give to Gemini, Gemini will be able to understand the context and provide the answer based on that. So it's becoming more intelligent. With that, let's go to the next feature. So this is a very powerful feature. I'm going to show you how you can utilize this feature for your project. So let me explain you what is memory. Memory is all about you are giving some instruction to Gemini so that Gemini can save that information in its memory and utilize that memory in future interaction. So in future, when you'll give any prompt to Gemini to do some certain task, Gemini will use the memory, understand what was the previous instruction was given to Gemini, and use those instructions to complete the task. So that's what is memory is all about. It's a very powerful feature which came up recently, which I'm going to show you right away. So as you can see in the screen, I'm in my console, and to access the memory, all you need to do memory, followed by there are three options: show, add, and refresh. So I'm going to start with the show. If you type show here, it will tell you these are the memories that we have already added to Gemini. Now, how to add a new memory? That's what I'm going to show you now. So for that, all you need to do, again, memory. And this time, instead of show, you need to type add. Here, I'm going to add three memories, which is mainly specific to the Python function. So here, this is my first memory or first instruction, which I want Gemini to store in its memory. So this is a Python rule. Okay, and I'm going to add that. Next, I'm going to add another one. Perfect. I'm going to add the third one. Here is the third one. So now I've already added three instructions which Gemini has stored in its own memory. So let's see that. So now if I go memory and type show, as you can see here, it's telling the current memory content coming from two files, and these are the three memories which I have stored, which I have given and Gemini has stored in its own memory. So where the memory is getting stored? Memory is getting stored inside your root directory, and there will be a folder called gemini.md. Now this is something that you need to understand. Any instruction that you'll give, that will be applicable to all projects. This memory is not to a project specific. You cannot do that. Probably in future there will be new update where you can create project specific memories, but as of now, as of today, you can only create memories which will be used across all projects because it's getting stored inside your local user directory inside the file called gemini.md. And these are the three rules which I have given. right? This is another thing that you need to do sometime, because if after adding a memory, that memory is not getting applied to your next prompt, the reason maybe it's not refreshed yet. So it's always a best practice that once you add a memory or delete a memory, go and do the refresh. Okay, as you can see, it's telling the refresh in memory from the source file, and it's successfully refreshed. So one of the instructions that I've given is make sure all the variable names should follow the lower camel case naming convention. So if you see this file, I have two variables, username and user email, but the variable name are not following the lower camel case instruction which I've given to Gemini. Since my rules are already stored as a memory, I can now tell Gemini to follow my rule and update in this enter workspace wherever needed. Please follow my rules and update. Enter. Let's see what Gemini will do. Now Gemini is reviewing, and Gemini understand that there are multiple files where changes are needed. So it's doing the changes right now, following the instruction which was stored as a memory. Perfect. Made some changes here and all these things. So I'll put 2. It's still doing the changes. Okay. So let's see what are the changes it has done. So if I go here and click on this, there is something it has added. It was user capital U, so it makes sure the variable name is following the camel case. It's doing other changes, so it did a lot of changes, but my intention was to show you that it followed the instruction which I stored as a memory inside Gemini, and then when I gave the instruction, it took the reference of the memory and made the changes accordingly. And this feature is really helpful, but only thing that you need to keep in mind that whatever memory that it will store, that will be applicable to all the projects. It's not a very project specific memory that you can handle at this point of time, but who knows, maybe in future Gemini will bring some update where you can handle the project specific memories also. At the end of the day, it's an open source project, so anybody can contribute and make the changes. Okay, with that, let's move to the next feature. Now this feature is another powerful feature. What this feature will do, basically in the agent world, whenever you are giving instruction to the agent, instead of agent going through the entire project structure to handle a request, if you can store the project structure in some of the file, then what agent can do, instead of going through all the project structure, it can refer that file to understand the project structure and give you the answer back. So that way, not a lot of token being used, because in today's world, utilizing the less token but still giving you the proper output, that is the key how the agent can perform well, at the same time provide you the correct answer. So if these are the two things that can be done, that is the best thing that can happen, right? So instead of agent every time going through the entire project structure, agent can find a place where the project structure is already updated. It can just refer that file, understand the project structure, and then provide the answer that is being asked to the agent. So for that, the moment you initiate the init function, what it will do, it will actually it will go through the entire project structure and put the information, as much information as it possible, inside a markdown file called gemini.md. So the next time when another instruction will be given to the agent, it will not go through the entire file. It will see, okay, there is a file present, there is a markdown file present, gemini.md, which will have all the information. So I'll only refer that file to understand the project and provide the answer back. So it's a very powerful feature. So once you are inside the Gemini, all you need to do / and then init, and it will start creating the gemini.md file. As you can see, this is a new file that is being created, and it's actually putting all the content about the project structure and everything inside the gemini.md file. So let it do its job, and I'll come back once this file is ready and I'll show you the content of this file. Okay, as you can see, it has already created the MD file with the projects, with the directory structure and the content. And this is important. This file will now serve as a foundational context for our future instruction. So any future instruction, agent will not go through the entire file, entire project structure. Rather, agent will use this file as a foundational context for any future interaction. So let's open this file and see what is there. And as you can see, it gave the project overview. This is a project, what is there inside the project, and different contents. other directories, everything is being stored inside this MD file. So this command is very important because going forward, your agent will be more efficient because agent will use a less token, but still use the same powerful information which is stored inside this MD file and give you the result back. So this is a very powerful feature that is being introduced in Gemini. With that, let's move to the next feature. This feature is one of my favorite features. So consider that you are working in two different projects and you want to copy some information from one project to your current project. Now copying this information, how you can let Gemini to do that? That's what this feature is all about. So for that, let me bring my other project. Okay, so this is my one project and this is my second project. Okay, so in this second project, I'm going to initiate the Gemini. Okay. So to bring some information from the other project to this project, I need to add the directory, the other directory here. So first understand how this will work. So once you are in Gemini, so you need to give directory, and then it will give you two options. Either you can add a directory or you can show the directory. So let me initiate the show command, and what is telling that I am currently in this directory, but I want something to come from this project to here. That's what I want. So what is the directory of this project? This is the directory of this project. So let me copy that and come back here. So I'm going to first add that other project's directory here. So the comment for that is again directory and then add followed by the other project directory. So I've added. Now if I initiate the same command show, I have two directory, this one and this one. Now let's say I want to bring back my wiki.txt, this Python file. How can I do that? So let me copy the file name and come here, and here I can tell, please copy the file this here. And what Gemini will do, Gemini will be able to understand that this file is present in another directory. So let's bring that, let's copy the file and put it here. So I'm going to give 2. So as you can see here, this file came from the other directory. So I've copied the file this to the current directory. So it actually copied the file from here to here. But if you see here, this file was present inside a code folder, but I don't have a code folder here. Even though the file is being copied, but it didn't follow the folder structure, right? So how can I do that? So I think I need to update my prompt. Please copy the file this. Let me first delete this one, the one that is being copied. Please copy the file this and the folder structure to this project. Let's see how Gemini will work now. And inside the code folder, this new Python file is being copied. This in the other project, this file was under the code folder. So when I gave the instruction, Gemini was not only able to bring the file, but it was also able to bring the file along with the folder structure. So if you're working on multiple projects and you want to refer some content, some file from other project to your project, this is a very powerful feature. With that, let's move to the next feature. So the next feature is all about the statistics, like what is being used in your current session. So to understand that, all you need to do is like stats, and then it will give you the model, which model that you are using, or the tools. It will give you a model specific user statistics or tool specific statistics. So let me go with the model first. And as you can see, I'm using the Gemini 2.5 prompt model. Total prompt was this much, and then output was this much. This is the total number of token that is being used, 0% error, 10 requests, and this is a latency. The only thing that you need to keep in mind, this will give you the statistics of the current session. For example, if you quit and then start a new Gemini again, that is another new session, and this time you did the stats and the model, it will tell there is no data. right? Because the stat comment is not giving you the overall statistics. It gives you the statistics of the current session. With that, let's move to the next feature. So this feature is all about how you can store your chat history. Chat means like whatever comments, whatever prompts that you are giving to the Gemini, that's considered as a chat. So for that, if you go and initiate this comment chat, then you have 4 options: list, which will show you all the conversation or chat checkpoints, then the save, where you want to save some chat, resume and delete. So if I put list, it's telling that I don't have a saved conversation. Now what I can do, I can always save whatever I have done so far. I can save that as a chat. So for that, I have to give the chat and then save, and then followed by a name which I can refer in future. For example, first chat, and then save. Now the beauty is that if I quit my Gemini now and come back by creating a new session, here, if I initiate the chat command and then list, it's showing I still have the save from the previous session, which I can resume now. For the resume command is like chat followed by resume, and it will automatically show you all the saved chat. So for me, this is the first chat, and the moment I enter that, it will take me back to the state where I have saved that, and I can continue my execution or continue my job after that. And it will also understand the context which I've used before. So it's not that it will forget the context, it will still remember the context. And saving the chat feature is very powerful, because not only you can save the chat, but you can also save the context, and at any point of time, even though you have quit from that session and create a new session, you can still go back and resume the chat from that point, resume your work from that point. This is definitely a powerful addition to Gemini. Okay, with that, let's move to the next feature. So this new feature is definitely my favorite feature, and that's why I kept it till the end, because I want to show you how you can utilize this feature. So for that, you need to connect, or you need to set up your GitHub. Now, setting up the GitHub is a very easy process. Trust me, I'll show you step-by-step process, but it's a very easy process. All you need to do, once you are here, you need to type this command, setup GitHub. And what it will do, it will open up multiple windows, but I'll go through each windows and I'll show you what you need to do. So the moment you do that, it will open up these windows. Definitely the first prerequisite, the repo, it has to be in GitHub. Otherwise, there is no point of utilizing this integration, right? So as you can see here, this is a Gemini CLI. It's already inside my GitHub. So the first thing that you need to do, you need to add a secret to your GitHub repo. So once you are here, all you need to do, you need to go to the settings, and then you need to go to secrets and variable and actions. This is where you need to add your Gemini API key, exactly in this format. But how you'll create your API key? For that, you need to go to another URL, which is called aistudio.google.com. And once you go inside that, you will find an option called, if you go under dashboard, there'll be API keys. You have to create API key, give some name, and create API key. And it will generate an API key, copy the key, and put that key here. And that's all you need to do. It's a very straightforward process. The moment you do that, what will happen, that is important. What will happen is that it will create all these workflows automatically for you. These are the workflows, are very powerful workflows. How? I'll show you now. So I'm in the main branch, but let me create a branch called GitHub integration. So git checkout -b, and this is the branch name. And I've already moved to the new branch. So now here I am making some very minor change here. Let's say I am going to add some comment, okay? Function to fetch and say Wikipedia content. So let's add this comment and then save that, added new commit, and publish the branch. Okay, now branch is published. So now if I come here, I can see I have a new branch, which is GitHub integration, and I can see there is something being pushed to this branch. So I can create a new pull request. Now here comes the beauty. Let me create the pull request and create the pull request. And this is a change, right? So create the pull request. The moment I create the pull request, see what will happen. If you go to your action tab, let me open in a separate window. There is a new action that is being already triggered. Currently it's in a queued status, but be in progress. So basically what is happening, the moment a new PR is being created, GitHub will automatically review the PR, provide the help of Gemini, provide the feedback about that PR by reviewing the PR, and also tell you whether this PR can be approved to merge. So currently it's in progress. And if you click on that, where it's telling it's currently doing the review of the PR, and once it's done, it will also tell you whether the PR is approved or not. And all this thing is being done with a single integration, and that is so easy to build. So this is one of my favorite features. There are some drawbacks in this feature, but that is still okay. Because it's an open source project, I'm quite sure in future this feature will become so powerful one that we cannot ignore that. We'll all use that in future. So it's still doing the review. And once the review will be done, I will show you how the PR will look like. So seems like the review is done. So let's go back to the PR and refresh. And let's see. Yep, this is my username. GitHub is telling that I've received your request, I'm working on it, and blah blah blah. And then finally it's telling all checks have been passed and there is no conflict with the base branch, everything is good. So you can definitely go ahead and merge the pull request. So it's so powerful, right? With the single setup GitHub command, you are able to integrate your Gemini Workspace with GitHub and also create those use powerful actions which will be automatically triggered the moment you create a PR. And then Gemini will be able to help to review the PR and give you the instruction whether the PR can be merged. But one of the beauty is that it will give you all these YAML files, but you have the full control. Based on your project need, you can definitely go and update these YAML files. This command is only give you the base version of the YAML files, which is already strong enough, but your project might have a unique requirement or project specific requirement, which you can always add into this YAML file. So I believe this feature is a very powerful feature. So that's all for today. Let me know which one is your favorite feature. If you haven't checked my Gemini playlist, please go and check that out. I'll put the link in the description as well as on the top right corner. And if you like this video, please hit the like icon. Please share this video with your friends and colleagues so that they know what are the new features that came up in Gemini CLI new update. And finally, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon, because in future when I'll be publishing more videos like this, I want you be the first person to be notified. Till then, thank you. Bye-bye.